All right, let's just jump right in. I want to talk about one of the wildest, most mind-boggling stories happening in tech right now. It's about a massive, almost reckless bet on AI that is literally reshaping our world as we speak.
So take a look at this number, $185 billion. That's what Google is planning to spend on AI infrastructure. And get this, that's not over 10 years or even 5 years. That's for a single year, 2026. To give you some perspective, that is more than the entire GDP of Ukraine. It is an absolutely insane amount of money. So you'd think the market would love it, right? Nope. The reaction was, well, shocking. When Google announced this plan, their stock didn't just stay flat. It dropped 7%. The gut reaction from Wall Street was that the company had completely lost control of its spending. And that brings us to the central mystery we're going to unpack here. Why on earth would the biggest investment in tech history get treated like a huge mistake? The answer to that question? Well, it's the key to understanding everything happening in AI right now. First off, we've really got to get our heads around the sheer scale of this. Because that $185 billion from Google, that's just one piece of a much, much bigger story. Yeah, it turns out Google isn't even the biggest spender. Microsoft is planning on spending even more, and Amazon and Meta are not far behind. When you add it all up, we're talking about the top tech companies dropping nearly $700 billion, again, in a single year, on AI infrastructure. This isn't just a bet anymore. This is a full-blown arms race. Now, to really understand why this spending seems so crazy, we have to hit the rewind button. Because honestly, just a short while ago, the conversation around AI was completely different. This quote pretty much says it all. In mid-2025, the consensus on Wall Street was that big tech had totally lost the plot. The narrative was that they were just shoveling money into a black hole with almost nothing to show for it on the revenue side. And this wasn't some fringe idea either. We're talking about the heavy hitters. Goldman Sachs, the venture capital giant Sequoia, even Goldman Sachs. They were all putting out reports saying the math just didn't work. The spending was totally out of whack with the money AI was actually making. And just when that bubble talk was at its absolute peak, everything changed. One single development came along and just shattered that entire way of thinking. It completely rewrote the rules of the game. And that game changer was AI agents. Now, hold on. These are not just glorified chatbots. We're talking about autonomous systems that can actually perform complex, valuable work inside of real companies, solving real-world problems. And the crucial part? They use a truly mind-boggling amount of computing power to do it. And this isn't just some sci-fi theory. This is happening right now. Anthropic, for instance, has agents that are reviewing legal contracts. OpenAI's enterprise platform is being used by giants like Uber and Oracle. And get this, there are coding agents out there right now, autonomously writing and committing production-ready code. They are delivering real, undeniable value. So why do these agents need all this cash? This chart explains it perfectly. Think of it like this. The first big wave of AI spending was on training. That's a huge but mostly one-time cost to build the AI model. But agents, they live in the world of inference, which means actually running the model. And that is a continuous 24/7 job. So when you have whole armies of these agents working all the time, the scale just explodes exponentially.
And this quote just perfectly captures how violently the thinking shifted. Suddenly, the market woke up and realized, wait a minute, if these agents are for real, if they can actually restructure entire industries, then we don't have too much infrastructure. We don't have nearly enough. The bubble wasn't a bubble after all.
Now you might be thinking, okay, we've seen this movie before. Massive infrastructure booms that lead to a bust. And you're not wrong. But there's a really good reason to believe that this time is fundamentally different. I mean, if you look back at history, you see these cycles, right? In the 1860s, we built way too many railroads and it led to a crash. Before things like refrigerated train cars created a whole new economy. In the 90s, we laid way too much fiber optic cable, which led to the dot-com bust, before YouTube and Netflix came along. This AI build-out feels kind of like that. But there is one giant difference. And here it is. The huge difference is what they were building. Railroads and fiber were basically dumb pipes. All they did was move stuff from point A to point B, whether it was goods or data. The real value was created by the companies that built applications on top of them. But AI infrastructure? It's not a dumb pipe. It's an intelligence layer. The companies building it are selling thinking, cognitive capability directly. And that means they get to capture a massive slice of the value being created, in a way the old railroad and fiber companies never could. Okay, so that's the big picture. We've got the insane scale, the history, but let's bring this down to earth. What does all of this actually mean for us? For you and me? How are we supposed to navigate a world where this new intelligence layer is being built all around us?
This, right here, is the question that really matters. I mean, think about it. When an AI agent can write code by itself, review a legal contract, or manage a complex supply chain, what's left for people to do? What skills actually become more valuable, not less?
Well, it turns out this new era actually puts a huge premium on some very specific, very human skills. First up is taste. That's the instinct to know the difference between something that's just technically correct and something that's truly extraordinary. Second is exquisite domain judgment, that deep, gut feel understanding of a field that only comes from years of experience. Third is something called phenomenal ramp, which is basically the meta skill of learning and adapting as fast as the machines are. And finally, and this one's tough, is relentless honesty, the courage to look at your own work and admit which parts an agent can now simply do better.
And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. That $700 billion, it's not just a number on a spreadsheet. It is the actual foundation of the next economy. The foundation of everything that's coming next is being built right now, this year. We are living through year one of the agentic age, and the choices we all make right now are going to define what comes next.